You're listening to the Lux Life Discovered podcast, where we talk with people who are living a lifestyle that reflects their passion, because we believe everyone should be living their best life, their Lux Life. The show is hosted by Rick Steiner with Steiner Event Group, a premier national event planning company. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications of future episodes. The show is produced by 30A Media and is broadcast on your favorite podcast outlets, as well as YouTube, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TVs, and other major brand smart TVs.
Hello, I'm Rick Steiner. Welcome to Lux Life Discovery. My guest today is Ian Clark. So Ian, thank you for being with us today.
Yep. Thank you, Rick.
Now Ian, then I go back a few years, and we're both from Murray, Kentucky, but I work here part of the time in the Gulf Coast, and then Ian lives here now. So we had you and Connor on originally to town to talk about that was 2 years ago in the summer, and he's a local and
I was a local, non-local.
Right. And so I'm kind of got your perspective on being here for the summer and doing that. But since then, you've had a busy last 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you went back to Murray, graduated from Murray State University.
Yep. I went back to Murray State and finished with my accounting degree there, where I graduated a semester early in order to come down here and start the beach season in Fort Walton Beach from March to October. It's an 8-month season, so I wanted to make sure I could get down here and have the full season, the full experience, and I just absolutely loved it. So here I am. I'm about to start the second season of beach service for me, and yeah, it's awesome.
So what do you like about the area? What is it that appeals to you so much? Like this is also like for other young people your age that are thinking, man, I'd like to go to the beach and live.
Yeah. One thing I just love the most about it is the ocean being right there, or the Gulf being right there, and you're able to so many new hobbies can come from that. So, if you're landlocked, you do a lot of things on ATVs and bikes and four-wheelers and whatnot. But when you have the Gulf right there, big body of water, you get into boating and scuba diving, spear fishing. You have the option to fish all of these beautiful fish and good eating fish. So I guess that's like one of my favorite parts, but what I love most about it here is that just everyone is so active and always outdoors. And if I could picture a perfect place, it's where everyone spends most of their time outside. Yeah. At least it's just so encouraging to be out in the sun, to go on walks, if that's what you like to do, or run, work out. Everybody is go-getters here. So I love that atmosphere.
So when you're here for the summer or the beach season, if you see you on the beach, you'll be setting up chairs, and that's a lot of work. People don't understand how much physical, how much it takes. Yeah,
it's a lot of work. The chairs weigh about 18 pounds a piece, so typically we will carry anywhere from 2 to 8 or 10 chairs at a time. So the average is 8. We typically run 8 packs down and back, and I guess that's over like 200 pounds, right? Yeah. Pretty close to it. So it's a lot of weight, and you're running about 50 to 60 yards one way through the sand, and your calves start burning, your back muscles get big, but you just got to love it. If you want to do it, you have to be willing to hustle and grind in the heat and sweat and sand. And a lot of people just don't like running in the sand. It's very common for people to start the season in March, and then once it gets hot, like June and July, they can't do it because it's 120 degrees and you're
and their interest is kind of fizzled a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So you got to really love it and enjoy working hard, I guess you would say, and putting in the work to make it through the summer. So.
Well, one thing with you two, you don't mind working hard, that's for sure. But you've also met a lot of interesting people in doing this too, haven't you?
Yeah. As somebody with a college degree who is putting themselves in this situation, doing a job that they don't have to do, not using their degree really to do it, I've been able to meet so many people. As far as networking, the networking has just been phenomenal, from insurance people to people that have planes and have taken me up in their planes, people who have offered me to come hunt in Pennsylvania for black bear, just all kinds of super cool experiences that I would never have gotten had I followed the career path I was originally on, and I'll forever be grateful for that. So the people that you meet and there's just that they see that you have a super hard work ethic. Most people who come vacation here are those who are able to afford to come. They probably own a business. They probably have a good paying job, something like that. And so you meet those people and they see that you can work, and from there they're like, oh, that's a good hardworking kid. Let's see what he's interested in, or maybe he might want this opportunity next. So
True.
you just keep those contacts. I have a stack of business cards as high as this soda can here. So
That's good. Well, you're definitely, like I said, hard worker. You're a good networker too. And so what is it that drives you?
What drives me is just to have to have a purpose with everything you're doing. I think it's important to go into everything with a purpose. And so I guess my purpose would be that I want to make a younger me proud, right? And not only does that purpose revolve around a monetary value, but just to be happy and have the experiences I always dreamed of when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's what's really important, is having a good balance in life where you enjoy what you're doing, but you're also making your steps moving up in life, right? And so I guess I'm just kind of at that point now where I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm trying to figure things out, car, house, and fiance now. So yeah.
Congratulations on the fiance.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I feel like I know her after watching your Instagram and stuff. I've never met her, but it's whenever we follow people on social media and you feel like you know them, then you're like, yeah, I've never met you in person.
Yeah, but I know all about you now. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
So and that, speaking of the social media and me asking you that question, you posted a series recently, like a journey. So what prompted you to do that? Because that was really kind of fun to watch. And
yeah, I appreciate that. For some reason, I've stopped doing that, but I guess what prompted me to do it was I just really wanted a way to put myself out there and show what I'm doing in life and with my life, and maybe if there's anyone out there that might need a little bit of motivation to go do something that they're wanting to do but wasn't necessarily ideal in other people's eyes, like going to work as a beach attendant, which is the best job ever, and I love it, and I'll never forget this time in my life, but it wasn't what everybody saw me doing, and so I wanted to share, like, just because you do go to college and you do have to do this and your parents want you to do this, which my parents fully supported me doing this, my whole family did, but that might not be the case for everyone. I just wanted to share, like, there is multiple avenues you can go, and following that average plan of life is not what you have to do. You can take some right and left turns there, but I also just wanted to share with my journey to embracing every day how many things in life that we go through the motions with but don't really necessarily notice to enjoy them. And whether it be watching the sunset or the sunrise, or having the ideal or the idea that you have to spend so much money to have fun and enjoy life, whereas you could buy a skateboard and just go ride down the road and have so much fun with that, or whether it be a surfboard or anything, that'll bring one-time purchase to bring a lot more fun to life, right? Just more activities, more hobbies, and just wanted to share my life ultimately.
I think that's great. And then also you have to put yourself in that environment to enable to experience that, because you couldn't do that in Kentucky.
No, but you could, just not with like the surfing or stuff in the Gulf. Yeah.
Because even when you were in Murray, I mean, you were big on camping and going to the lake and stuff.
Yeah,
it's always been part of your joy there.
Yeah, just anything outdoors I love, and that's, I guess picking up things in the ocean and using our beach here as our front yard or backyard is one thing I've learned you got to do, because I live in an apartment where I don't have a yard anymore, and I'm sure you've noticed, like, really nowhere along the coast has a lot of yard or land. So that's what I tell people, is the beach is where I go play football at now, or the beach is where I go do whatever I have to do, whereas typically it would have been in a backyard or front yard. And so, yeah, you just got to take advantage of the beach.
Yeah. So when you've been here for 2 years, you were here doing beach season last year.
Yeah.
And then you took a 2 or 3 month break.
So I've just been here for a year. Last February is when I moved here,
Okay.
which I was here in that summer in 2022, but went back to college. And
oh, that's right.
finished up school. So I moved here last February, and our season ended October 31st. And so at that point, I was ready to get out of there. I was like 8 months in the sun, hustling every day, lots of customer service. And so just getting really worn out. I was like, all right, I need a break from Florida. So I left. I went to Puerto Rico as the weather was getting pretty cold. Went into like 85, 90-degree weather there. That was awesome. That's where I proposed at too. So, yep. And then after that, came home, spent Thanksgiving with my family in Kentucky, and then went to Japan for a little over 2 weeks. Traveled from central Japan, Tokyo, all the way south to Hiroshima, and just backpacked the whole thing with a fraternity brother of mine, and that was awesome.
How did that all come about? Because that's pretty interesting. Because you really backpacked.
Yeah. We had a backpack. We took a backpack, and that's all we had. I had like 3 changes of clothes. We did stay in hostels, just cheaper cost compared to the hotels. But he actually works beach service here in 30A, and he's done that for the past 2 years. But we went to college together. The reason he works beach service here in 30A was because of me. I introduced it to him, and he loved it. But he's a little older than I am now, and he just went into the Army, and he is at Fort Benning, I believe, in Columbia, Georgia. Yeah, so he is like in his basic training there right now. His name's Leighton C. So anyways, we were together at dinner, probably, I guess it was in October, like towards the end of our beach season. And we were like, let's go on a trip before you go to basic. And he's like, I want to go to Japan. I was like, okay, I'll go to Japan with you. So a week later, we met up and we booked flights to Japan, and they were pretty cheap, so we were okay with it. And we just, we booked our first night stay there in Tokyo, and then from there, we just traveled further south. I believe it was about 450 miles that we traveled, which, most of that was by train, but some was walking and hiking and stuff too. So, yeah.
So did you have any... did you know anybody in Japan when you went, or did you have you just basically did this on your own?
No, we just did this on our own. There was no one that we knew there, and we had no clue what we were doing, really. He's very experienced in traveling, so internationally and stuff, so he kind of knew how to travel, but as far as the sites that we were going to see and stuff and the things we were going to do, we just planned day by day. Nice. And, we got into a lot of the local cultures, local people that we met who would sit with us at dinner and talk to us, tell us stories, and give us all kinds of stuff. So super
sure
cool.
They like the tall, blonde-headed American too. And
yes. And it was hard to get in and out of places because I was probably the tallest person there. So
that's great. What was probably the highlight or one of the highlights of your trip?
The highlight of my Japan trip was Mount Fuji, for sure. It was just absolutely beautiful. We stayed in a little town outside of Mount Fuji called Kawaguchiko, and it was just the slowest part of the trip, the smallest city, very agriculture-based, so everyone had their own little gardens, their rice fields and stuff, like in their yard. Whereas the rest of the trip we spent in major cities, so Shinjuku and Tokyo and Hiroshima, like all the big cities. So
yeah. Wow. And that's something you'll remember for the rest of your life. And to be able to do it with a good friend, that's even something.
For sure.
So so you're back here now, and just enjoying some downtime before the beach season picks up?
Yeah, I am enjoying it, but like you mentioned, I'm a hard worker and I like to work, so it's it's just biting at me like, dude, what are you doing? You're just sitting around. I feel like I'm wasting my time, but I am being productive with it, and I'm trying to enjoy it. It's just there's only so much of that someone who likes to be out doing stuff can take. So for myself, I'm really ready to get back into it. I have some online things that I work on as well, so that brings me a little bit of that work feeling. But
you like the physical part of it.
I like the physical part, so. Yeah.
So, what did you think about the snow? I mean, it's crazy,
Yeah, snow in the Gulf.
Snow here than we had in Kentucky.
Yeah, snow in the Gulf was crazy. It was awesome. It was the most beautiful thing that I think most people had ever seen here, and it was just so unexpected. Yeah. I was telling Kelsey, I was like, it's not going to snow. We might get an inch, and it's not going to stick. Like, we're in Florida, it's not going to happen.
Right.
And go throughout that whole day, and around 3 o'clock it starts snowing, and it's snowing real good. And I'm like, see, look, it's not sticking. And then an hour after that, it's like starting to pile up. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna happen. And sure enough, by 10 o'clock that night, after 10 hours of snow or whatever we had 6, 7 inches, and it was awesome. So I ran out, jumped in the ocean, and that was a lot of fun. Super, super cold. And then I had to run back to the apartment like pretty much naked. I'm in my shorts and that's it. And my feet were hard and felt like they were having needles stabbed into them. But
you said you get like 10,000 views or 10,000 likes on your.
Yeah, pretty close to it. Yeah.
Well, that caught everybody off guard because I sent that. I think I sent a screenshot of the forecast to John and Paul, and also to Steve and Shannon. And Paul's remark was that we've got the Bay to protect us. It won't do anything here.
Mm-hmm.
The famous last words. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that he had to eat those words, but yeah, and it is fun to see how people reacted here because there are some places that don't have heat, and you never think about that. But why do you need heat in this area sometimes? So it's been an interesting take, and then people saw snow for the first time in their lives.
Yeah.
That would have to be cool to see.
Yeah, there were a lot of kids at my apartment complex who lived there, and seeing them enjoy the snow like I used to as a kid was really cool because they had never seen it before.
They brought out a little kid in you too, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's why I had to go jump in the water, and I was throwing some snowballs with them, so.
That's awesome.
Fiance got a snowball thrown at her. That didn't go so well, so.
Well, you got to learn who to throw them to and who not to.
That's right.
One of the many things you're going to learn over the next few years.
Yeah.
So what are your plans? What do you say if you could look at 6 months down the road, just even that close? What's something that you would really like to see happen? I think.
Within the next 6 months, so that'll bring us to like August, right? Yeah, by August, somewhere in there. Well, I'm currently looking at trying to find a house to buy and get out of paying rent and paying someone else's mortgage. I've done that through college and for the past year here in Florida, and obviously it's just not like the smartest thing to do when you could pay your own mortgage, I guess, per se. It might give you more responsibility, I guess, and less of a time to travel and stuff, but I'm paying the rent anyways, so if I'm going to pay it, I might as well put it towards something of my own is how I think about it. And so by then I would really like to have an idea of, what house that might be or where the house will be somewhere here in the Gulf Coast, and, hopefully close on that sometime next off season. So in the next 10 months, but within the next 6 months, something that I'm working on is spearfishing. So I recently got into it, and I have all the gear, big gun, wetsuit, fins, all kinds of stuff for it. And so, I need to learn how to free dive and become experienced in that, because going down in the Gulf around wrecks and stuff can be scary, holding your breath for so long, and so I think within the next 6 months, I would like to be pretty experienced in that field and just know a little bit more about it and what I'm doing. So for now, I'm just kind of going in the bay, in the inlets, and staying out of the Gulf, because I think that's just for a little more experienced person. Yeah. I have spearfished with a hand sling in the Gulf a few times, but, just still trying to get the hang of it. Now I have a big gun with a reel and all that, so.
That's pretty cool, yeah. So do you go by yourself when you do that? Or?
Yes, I do, and, typically, well, she watches me if I go, but I don't want to go do the next steps that I need to do to get better by myself. Those are going to be harder dives. They're going to be maybe moving into the Gulf, out and about around current and stuff within the inlets, and that's something I don't want to do alone, because I feel like if something goes wrong, what do you do if you're alone, So I'm kind of like at that point where I need someone to go with, or I'm waiting for the people I know to do it with me,
Yeah.
So
did you go with someone like?
It's honestly, I bought a hand sling, which is the simplest way you could do it. It's like if you took a mechanical pencil and put a rubber band around the back, and you pull the rubber band to the front and let go. And so I got one of those for real cheap, just easy purchase, and started doing it out like in the Gulf a little bit on my own, as that's not something that takes a lot of experience. And then once I got good at that, I was like, okay, I want the whole 9 yards. I want the fins, I want the wetsuit, I want the big gun and the big spear shaft and all that. And so I have all that now. And I have like tested it out and swam around with it and stuff. But like I said, I'm at that point now where I need to go with someone else. And
We had a underwater photographer on one time, Johnny O.
mhm.
And so I need to put you guys in touch with each other. He could
Yeah, that'd be
come
cool.
out and film you sometime.
That'd be cool.
While you're doing that.
I have some good connections, some guys that were in the Air Force and stuff over in Eglin, and they now go out to the wrecks with their boats and stuff and spear big fish. Like
Okay.
this friend of mine has killed a cobia and some big redfish and stuff with his spear, and the pictures look awesome, but I'm like, dang, that's got to be intense. You know, these fish are 40, 50 pounds, and they're spearing them and then hanging on to them or letting them
I bet
blow up
that's
with a balloon.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a thrill in itself once you,
Hmm.
because they're not going to just give up easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You don't want to give up after you shoot something because then it's kind of
Right.
inhumane, you know. So
Yeah. Well, good deal. So that definitely sounds like fun. So with your social media presence, what would
Mhm.
you like to do with that part?
you know, I would love to have a greater following on social media and just kind of share my life more. And if there's any lessons or anything to be learned from what I'm doing, for others to gather that and take what they will from it, right? I also get a lot of advice from these customers I have on the beach who have had many different walks of life. So I try to put that out there. So not just me, so like I'm not the only one learning from it, but also other people who watch the reels and the videos can learn from that as well. But I would love to be somewhere with 100,000 followers and you know some sort of brand deal where I can wear somebody's swim trunks and get decked out in RVCA stuff
Yeah.
and you know just you know my ultimate goal is to be less of a consumer and just put more stuff out there instead of consuming it from my reels and going through reels just like brain dead, you know.
Right.
I don't want to be that person. And sometimes I think I do. Like I'll catch myself watching like an hour of reels, and I'm like, dang, why did I just do that? You know. So I'm trying to spend that hour making my own reel and then putting it out there, right? You know. So
That's good. And with your reels too, like we have a lot of influencers today
Mhm.
that really produce a lot of nothing.
Mhm.
Yours are interesting.
Well,
They're-
thank you.
They're relevant. And
Thank you.
I think that you're on the right track with that for sure.
Thank you.
Because you could go a completely different
Mhm.
avenue and post some senseless stuff. And
Yeah. Yeah, I
still
really
get-
want it to be authentic and true. You know, I don't want to flex my Lambo and my 100K that I made this month, but that's not me. You know, and I'm not doing that. So, but I don't want to do that and
But
like
you wouldn't
create
mind
this.
having both of them.
Oh, I wouldn't mind at all, but I don't want to flex that, whether it be true or false. So I just want to be authentic and share my life story. I think God put us all on this earth to have a different story to tell. No one else can tell a story just like it. And so we have that chance to make our own movie or film of ourselves and share that. And if someone finds it interesting, then they can follow you. And that's really all there is to it, you know, to
No,
me.
Yeah, no, that's good and well said for sure. Because you're the kind of person that you meet people and you know how to interact, and it's not a fake thing. It's just you're genuine, and
Well,
so
thank
that's pretty.
Thank
and that
you.
goes back to your parents too. So
Yeah, yeah,
gotta-
and my
gotta throw a
family.
shout out to your mom and dad. Yeah,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, good. So your sister, you think she'll ever follow in your footsteps and make it down here?
I wish my whole family would move down
I was
here
gonna say,
because
would you
I
mom
really
and dad
miss
be
them.
right there with her,
I
too?
really miss them a lot.
Yeah.
Molly's currently in nursing school at Murray State right now, and she has a couple more years. I ask her all the time if she wants to come down here for the summer and just hang out with me. I can get her a job working, you know, on Crab Island, selling stuff, doing whatever. She's like, I already love my job on the lake in Kentucky. Why would I want to come there right now or something? So,
One summer
So-
with her.
yeah, one summer would do it, but she has a pretty good gig. She works for Blues and she's a waitress
Okay,
there, so
yeah.
she loves that. But I think my parents, you know, would love to live here, and at some point when Molly is out of school, they'll probably all end up coming down here.
So
So
that's good. That's good.
yeah, I plan to stay unless something drastically changes.
Well, I was going to say that earlier when you were talking about looking for a house. So you do plan to stay in the area then?
Yeah, for sure. I do love Kentucky, and being back there for the holidays made me miss it more than I have this past year at all, because just seeing the opportunity to have 20 acres with some farmland and be able to hunt deer off my back porch, that kind of thing. But it's just, like I said earlier, our front yard is now our beach, and we got to take advantage of the Gulf. So I do want to stay here. And obviously, I probably won't be doing beach service for forever, but having property here, I think, is a good investment, first of all. And second of all, I love it here, and I'd always love to have a place to come back to here.
Well, goodness, if you decide to take a couple of months off to do something, you can always lease the house if you want to, because that's definitely not an issue here.
No, for sure.
Well, good. So I'm glad you came back for another visit, because it's good to see you, and always excited to follow you on social media, even though we don't talk a lot.
Well, thank you, Rick.
We stay in touch, and through that. And
good connections, they pick up where they left off, right?
That's true.
Good friendships,
yeah. So we're going to put your Instagram up on the screen there. So it's at Ian_Clark.
Yeah, that's it.
I had done the single underscore.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, the single underscore was taken, so I had to add the extra one in there. Yeah.
Okay. So another Ian Clark?
I guess so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
With an underscore.
Yeah. Who knew, huh? So, but yeah, make sure you follow Ian's Instagram, because he has a lot of good posts, good reels, and you'll just see how a smart, responsible young man is making it here on the Gulf Coast, and how he's attacking life, really.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you so much,
right,
Rick. I really appreciate
Thank you for
it.
being here. All right, and that concludes our episode of Lux Life Discovered. So we'll see you soon.
Check out Lux Life Discovered on Facebook and Instagram, and on 30a.tv. See you next time on Lux Life Discovered.